morning viewers, I am Dr. Harsh. Today we are going to discuss sacrum. So sacrum is a triangular bone which articulates with the hip bone on both sides, right? I'll show you the articulated hip bone with the sacrum which forms the pelvis. This is sacrum. Both the sides we have pelvic bone. So I will also show you how it articulates individually. So this is sacrum. Towards the lateral side we have the auricular surface, right? Anteriorly we have auricular surface, posteriorly rough pitted surface. Here also we have auricular surface on the hip bone. I'll do of this side. So this is the auricular surface. Auricular means ear shaped, kaan ki tarah. Auricular surface, and here is this auricular surface. So our auricular surface will articulate with the auricular surface of this side, and from this side this auricular surface will articulate with this side auricular surface, and medially pubic symphysis meet in the midline. So this forms this pelvis, male pelvis as well as female pelvis, right? So pelvis is made up of with the articulation of three bones. One is sacrum, and towards the both side hip bone, right? Now I will explain the sacrum in detail. So as I have already discussed, it is a triangular bone with base directing upwards, base or superior surface, apex is directed downwards, right? Base is upwards, apex is downwards. So it has four surfaces: pelvic surface towards the pelvis, dorsal surface posteriorly, and two lateral surface, right? So it is only one midline bone, so there is no idea of right or left, right? So pelvic surface is concave, dorsal surface is convex, right? Pelvic surface is smooth, having pelvic foramina. Dorsal surface is rough, having dorsal foraminas, right? These pelvic and dorsal foraminas, they communicate with each other through intervertebral foramen, and through intervertebral foramen they enter into the sacral hiatus or sacral foramina, right? This is the sacral foramina. These are the pelvic foraminas, these are dorsal foraminas, this is sacral foraminas. So pelvic and dorsal foramina, they communicate with each other, and through the intervertebral foramen with the sacral foramina, right? Now let's discuss its base first. So actually it is a fused bone. It is consists of 5 lumbar vertebra which are fused together. 5 sacral vertebra, sorry. So it is sacral bone is formed by fusion of 5 sacral vertebrae, right? So we have 4 lines of fusion on the pelvic surface showing the fusion of the 5 sacral vertebra, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Last one has a facet for the coccyx. The apex has a facet to articulate with the coccyx, right? Now, so this is the body of the sacral vertebra. First sacral vertebra, it matches with the lumbar body matches with the lumbar vertebra, right? And it has anterior margin which is called sacral promontory. So body of the first sacral vertebra's anterior margin is called sacral promontory. So towards the lateral side we have a fan shaped structure which is called ala of sacrum or lateral mass, ala of sacrum. So whenever we will be discussing the boundaries of this pelvis here, so we will discuss these parts. This forms the boundary of the pelvis, right? Promontory, sacral promontory, then ala of sacrum, right? Posterior most boundary. So now, inlet of the pelvis boundaries. Now we will see that the 5 sacral vertebra, they are fused in the midline, having 5 lines of fusion, right? Having 5 sacral foramina on the pelvic surface, right? So this is ala, and this is vertebral body, and this is also ala of sacrum. Now come to the dorsal side. Dorsal side we have a lot many things. I will just explain you one by one. So in the middle we have spinous process which is fused, so and forms the spinous tubercle. So these spinous tubercles, they are fusing with each other and form the median crest, median sacral crest. So likewise we have 3 crests here: median crest, sacral crest, intermediate sacral crest, and we have lateral sacral crest. Now I will tell you which structures form these crests, right? So median sacral crest, as we know, posterior most of the vertebra which structure lies spines. So here the spine ends in a tubercle and they form a crest which is called median sacral crust. So median sacral crust is formed by the fusion of the spinous tubercles, right? Then we have intermediate crest, which is formed by the fusion of the superior articulating tubercles. We have a superior articulating facet here, we have inferior articulating facet here, right? So in the line of the superior articulating facet and inferior articulating facet, we have intermediate crest, which is formed by the fusion of the articular tubercles of the corresponding vertebrae, right? Median crest is formed by the fusion of spinous tubercles. Intermediate is formed by the fusion of the articular tubercles. And we have a lateral crest. Laterally we have transverse process. So they are formed by the fusion of transverse tubercles. So three crests. Lateral crest is formed by fusion of transverse tubercles. Intermediate crest is formed by fusion of articular tubercles. Median crest is formed by fusion of the spinous tubercles, right? So this is finished. Now we have lateral masses. How the lateral masses are formed? So lateral masses are formed by two things. Anteriorly the costal elements and posteriorly the transverse processes will fuse with the costal elements to form the lateral masses. These are the lateral masses, right? So lateral masses, how lateral mass is formed? Lateral mass is formed anteriorly by the costal elements, which I already discussed with lumbar vertebra also. So costal elements, posteriorly with the transverse process. The fusion forms the lateral masses. So lateral masses, they are very thin behind and they are broad above, right? As the LI is so much broader, LI is nothing but the lateral mass which is formed by the costal element of first sacral vertebra and transverse process of the first sacral vertebra, right? So these are the lateral masses, and now come to the attachments. Now the first muscle attached here onto the articular surface anteriorly towards this is the iliacus muscle, iliacus, right? Then we have origin of piriformis on the middle three pieces of sacrum. Piriformis, we have already discussed its insertion at tip of the greater trochanter on the femur, as if you people remember. So here that was insertion. Origin of piriformis is from the middle three pieces of sacrum, E-shaped. E-shaped. I'll show you like this. E-shaped piriformis. Is it visible? This is the insertion of piriformis, right? Here we have insertion of coccyx at inferior-lateral angle. Inferior-lateral angle is nothing but this band at the inferior margin and lateral margin. This band is called inferior-lateral angle. So near the inferior-lateral angle we have the attachment of coccyx muscle, right? Now come to the posterior surface. So posterior surface we have U-shaped insertion of erector spinae onto the transverse tubercles as well as onto the spinous tubercles. This is erector spinae, right? So in between this U-shaped we have this area is covered by attachment of multifidus. So U-shaped is erector spinae, this one is multifidus, right? So these are the muscle attachment. Now two things are more important on this surface are, one is when I have discussed this spinous process, this is deficient inferiorly. See, it is deficient inferiorly. So what is this? This is actually sacral hiatus. So what is sacral hiatus? The spinous process, they are fused till sacral 4 vertebra, but the fifth vertebra, its lamina is not fused posteriorly, giving the appearance of a hiatus which is called inverted U-shaped hiatus, sacral hiatus. And around the sacral hiatus there is a projection called sacral cornu. This is the sacral cornu, right? Now the other things important in this case are relations on ala of sacrum, which I already discussed in my previous classes also. The relations from medial to lateral side is oils, O-I-L-S, on the ala of sacrum. O is for obturator artery, I for obturator nerve, I for iliolumbar artery, then we have lumbosacral trunk, L, and S is for sympathetic chain. So from medial to lateral, the relation is O-I-L-S. O for obturator nerve, I for iliolumbar artery, L for lumbosacral trunk, S for sympathetic chain from medial to lateral side. So this is important. Now one thing is more important, that is sexual differences of the sacrum in male and female. So what are the differences? So one is the sacral index. Sacral index is 105 in males and 115 in female, 115 in females and 105 in males. Now what is sacral index? Sacral index is the width of this part, base, from both ella to the length. Length means from the sacral promontory to the tip of apex into 100. This is sacral index. So we have a formula for sacral index: breadth or base divided by length from sacral promontory into up till the apex into 100, and this is 105 in males and 115 in females, right? Now the body length of the body is more as compared to the ella of the sacrum, right, in case of males, while it is opposite in case of females. So here it is, the length of body is more, so this is a male sacrum I am holding, right? Now one more thing is important: the auricular surface, ventral auricular surface is less marked in males as compared to females, and the dorsal pelvic surface, dorsal auricular surface, it is shallow in males and deeper in females, right? So this is all about sacrum, students. Thank you very much.